Well, we narrowly escaped with a close call yesterday. But now, of course, we first want to take a look at what exactly happened yesterday. There are some dubious and multiple reasons why we narrowly avoided a major disaster yesterday. Additionally, I have some Ripple news for you. Yes, there are occasionally some new updates currently. And we'll also take a look at today's trading setup. So I would say there's enough time. We'll see each other after the intro. Now new! Uptrend VIP Trading, your opportunity to copy the signals of two profit traders for free. They managed to grow an account from $4,000 to $30,000 within 2 months. The results in the group are also impressive. All you need for this is a deposit of $100 into your BingX account. All further information can be found below in the description. Yes, it happened as it was supposed to, as we can clearly see here. February wasn't as deep in the red as it might have been yesterday. So, yesterday a few percentage points in the plus was still achieved, so that we at least didn't slip below the minus 20% mark. One could now claim again, yes, precisely for that reason, because everyone was waiting for February to become so drastically positive it almost had to be. It is definitely against the normal cycle if you take a look at what happened in the last bull runs. We never had such a big correction in there. I would say, let's take it easy, wait and see. Because March still has potential, in my opinion. So, for everyone who is now asking themselves, yes, are we currently in a bear market? And how does it look? I talked about it in detail yesterday. No, we are definitely not in a bear market. If you want to know the details, feel free to click here. It's definitely worth taking a look. And I still believe that we can see a massive rise. Important, subjunctive. No one can predict the future, but let's continue to take a look. Many thanks, and welcome to all the new subscribers per day. Subscribers are still coming in. You are keeping up. You support me here with what I do, even in such difficult market phases. And by the way, for those who haven't noticed yet, it's very easy, straightforward, and free. Just leave a like under the video now, it really boosts the algorithm. And if you're new to this channel now, you might be asking yourself, okay, Daniel, what do you actually do? I provide you daily with the most important crypto news. Honestly, fact-based and transparent, without hype, focusing on what's important for investing. Additionally, a trading setup that might help you earn a few extra dollars in trading. So I would say it can definitely make sense to check out this content from time to time. Leave the hours of research to me and I'll deliver it to you briefly and concisely. If you're interested, feel free to leave a free subscription, activate the bell so you don't miss any important information. And now we're really getting started. Yes, the traditional markets and Bitcoin have suffered enormously, and there's a reason for that, the tariffs. So it feels like whenever Trump just mentions the word tariffs, there's a correction. Yes, many expected that he would enforce it, but that's also the issue with Trump again. No one would have thought that he would push through so massively, so quickly. And that has caused a lot of confusion. However, in the long term, this doesn't necessarily mean anything bad for Bitcoin. You can read it here as well. This could possibly mean a significant push for Bitcoin in the long term because these measures could weaken the US dollar in international trade. This will reduce the trade deficit of the USA. And we all know a weak dollar is in turn good for Bitcoin. But now we just have to wait and see because the trade tariffs have been announced. So we're talking about the beginning of March. It should be the 3rd or 4th of March when they are supposed to come into effect. Now, of course, the next question arises, is Trump now just trying to get a better negotiating position here? This was seen, for example, with Canada, where suddenly there was a quick desire to hold talks. Or is the matter really settled? It will be enforced, and then we will see. We can note one thing at this point. We could probably be glad yesterday that Trump was occupied with other topics. I'll get to that briefly. That he didn't have the topic of tariffs in focus for once. Fundamentally, we can note that the NASDAQ gained significantly again yesterday, fortunately. So it could have quickly gone in the other direction. But if we look at it overall, the NASDAQ definitely climbed over 2%, even peaking at nearly 2.3%. And this was also very noticeable with Bitcoin. There are several reasons now. Some are looking for the Bitcoin pump, which can certainly be described as such, or at least this stabilization in the crypto space itself. I see it a bit differently. because yesterday entirely different topics were present in the traditional markets. So it wasn't about tariffs this time, but rather suddenly there was this scandal in the White House between Zelensky and Trump. And I'm not going to start any political discussions here, but honestly, folks, Zelensky could have known what he was getting into. He travels to a narcissist and finds himself practically in completely quote-unquote hostile territory. In sales, I also always learned that ideally you invite the customers to your place, because then you're on home turf. And Trump invites him to the White House. And then he sometimes really hits hard, strikes a harsh tone. This could also be a language barrier since he doesn't speak English natively. Yes, could be. Sure, I mean, if you provoke a narcissist, or if, for example, you don't show up in a suit. I'm also the kind of person who says, well, a suit isn't necessarily required, but that's just a different level. I do think that he has stepped into one or two faux pas there, which really didn't have to happen. Just my personal opinion. If you have a different opinion, feel free to write it in the comments. But as I said, this channel is about crypto and not politics. What benefited us here was the fact that yesterday there was no talk about tariffs at all. What many also saw as a reason was the agreement between the SEC and Coinbase. Sure, that's a milestone. Now, many are logically asking at this point, what about XRP? Well, now we have to say again, and I'm happy to repeat it, Coinbase currently holds 90% of the total volume of the spot ETFs, meaning the Bitcoin ETFs. It should probably be the same for Ethereum. I never understood why a lawsuit is being maintained there, but the same institution has released the ETFs again. So, yeah, no idea. But anyway, the topic is now off the table. One must still note at this point, and I'm happy to repeat myself here, the SEC is doing a really tremendous job. Every day, some judgment is being dropped, lawsuit dismissed. We don't want anything to do with it anymore. It's madness. If we look now, Coinbase, we have Robinhood, we have Uniswap. We have Tron, where, for example, everything has been postponed. Binance, where there is a suspension. So a lot is happening right now. I think it's cool. The main reason, however, why we didn't see this massive correction yesterday, and yes, I stick to the theory, would have been if the PCE data had turned out worse. So it should be noted at this point that they have, in quotes, only met the forecast. However, in the end, compared to the previous month, it was already better. And that also triggered this positive impulse in the market, which is why I also believe that the NASDAQ crawled back up, and why this in turn was noticeable in Bitcoin. Because you could especially notice in the early morning hours yesterday how Bitcoin kept declining, and people were already bracing for a horror scenario. Probably they also wanted to push a few market participants out of the market. And then came the turnaround. And that's why we are now exactly where we are, and I will go into detail on that shortly. Also, a quick look at the spot ETFs, something special, BlackRock, we have a massive sale. Still, also seen yesterday, but in the end, the other ETFs briefly turned it positive again. So that, for the first time now, in a very, very red week, so absolutely it will be. It remains to be seen now, keep in mind. Please. Over the weekend, the market makers are usually in charge of the traditional markets. They have always cushioned the whole thing a bit. I am even making a prediction now. It might not be so bad that the traditional markets are currently closed, because in the past week, they really let us down, just here alone. $1.1 billion in total outflows left us quite in the lurch. Therefore, it remains to be seen what are the market makers up to now. So, yes, we are currently in a, well, I don't want to call it a neutral zone. The downward trend is still there, but all in all, we've managed to get out of it a bit, but we're not completely out of the woods yet. So, please don't immediately say, wow, open the champagne, and it's only going up from here. Even if you definitely don't notice it in the chart right now, I want to briefly touch on this. The topic of Ripple, it's not just simply, hey, to the moon, everything's great, but they are working in the background. But it remains a very speculative asset. So even now, many people have sold off and thought at under $1, oh, that's it. And now it's going down again. You never know. Right now, it's just barely over $2 again, so just wait and see what happens. In any case, there's a new partnership in South Korea, so you can see that a lot is happening, especially in the Asian region. You just have to look at everything with a bit of caution. It's not an exclusive right, as Avalanche already has a cooperation with BingX. Nevertheless, it remains to be seen how this XRPL, meaning the stablecoin, can be properly pushed in some way, and also how it can be brought to the general public, ideally to institutional clients. And Asia is indeed quite larger in this regard. And the consumers there could be much more active. Well, I also maintain, being completely neutral here, that it's a bit premature to say that the RLUSD has only had limited success and so on. $120 million in done market capitalization, yes, that's all nice, but it hasn't been on the market for that long. So let's just wait and see. And everything that concerns an XRP, an XRUSD. Regarding the stablecoin in the end, this could also benefit XRP. So please hold your horses and wait, at least if you're looking at it long term. However, I can still give everyone the tip that maybe such a correction was necessary to move away from those moon boy predictions. Deviate a bit from the usual quick $100 or $1,000 per duo XRP predictions. Please take a step back and feel free to realize profits, and you can also feel free to condemn me for it. But in rising markets, no one has ever lost. And in the end, only realized profits are actual profits. Now, moving on to the trading setup, I use BingX for this, by the way. If you're looking for a licensed exchange where you can trade without KYC, I've negotiated this exclusively and for the uptrend community. You'll find the link in the description below. Feel free to sign up for free. You even get a deposit bonus. Specifically, if you deposit $100, you get a $25 bonus. If you deposit $500, you get an $80 bonus. And you're probably going to think, I'm crazy now, but I'm going to open a limit order today. At a point where you're probably thinking, Daniel, what did you have in your coffee this morning? But I'll get to that in a moment. First, let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin chart. This is the daily view, so you can see, yes, this fiasco has ended, but you can basically draw a line under it here. Normally, historically speaking, not much happens on the weekends. So you can really notice that here it feels like we're in a really neutral zone right now. Nothing is going up here, nothing is going down. Still, so this is basically our safety zone, which is clearly undercut. And here, so the range of action is manageable, which is why I still say what these 69K, in the worst case, they could be caught up, possibly even a bit below. On the heat map, we can now discover something interesting, namely through this rise. Back here, quite a few long positions have formed again, which the market makers might also want to liquidate. And for example, it goes down easily to 80K. Again, probably quite a few over leveraged again. And in the 6-month view, it remains interesting because down here in the range around up to 72K. There's still quite a bit lying around where one could say, yes, it could be picked up again in the process. However, down here is a big block still available. Now, of course, one could say there's now the possibility we are really climbing back up now. That was it for now, or it should be. A more severe washout might come again, and we might really dip in here very briefly. That can only be with a small candle, and then we rise accordingly again. So, what I will do, call me crazy, I will open a limit order here today. And if it gets picked up, hey, that would really be awesome. Because for me personally, that would really be the bottom as such. If the limit order is not picked up, yes, what happens in the worst case? Well, then it just doesn't get picked up. Yeah, so what? Well, then that's just how it is. But I could really imagine that you only see the wick of a candle down here. And then it continues upwards. We'll wait and see. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But if an order is opened here, then that's really something. A nice entry. Even with Ethereum, it indeed doesn't look rosy if we draw this here. We had a downtrend where a breakout occurred. I've roughly sketched it here, but you can see we're currently finding our way back into this zone. And I've drawn it here as well. If we sustainably fall below this value again, I can certainly imagine that this 1,951 plus or minus, please don't hold me to the exact amount, but that we will then sail down into this area here. So let's wait and see what the market makers have planned and how things will proceed here. Now, a quick look at the heat map. Extremely crucial. Either there is a rejection upwards, meaning we don't return to this downtrend, or it goes back down again. So we see liquidity up here, but we also see it down here. Quite a bit has logically built up again. So this is once more the problem, the game of the market makers. Because now, of course, over-leveraged long positions have been opened again if you want to get them out nicely now. Well, then we have this up and down. Now, just at a lower level, but exactly the same game again. And this goes down to, let's say, around $20.72. Now, if we take a quick look at the next 3 days, it probably won't be any different. Yes, well, there's quite a bit to gain up here. So yes, we can hope that we will rise again first. And then it goes down again, although it already looks like we are heading into a downtrend. Moving on to XRP, yes, at least that dip metal was well recovered and worked back up to the original level. Now, it has slightly gone down again, so we are still, as I have marked here, in this critical zone. Now, however, if you look at the heat map here, at least here, I would say, where it shines the brightest, that's where we are somewhere, at around $209. But that means, in turn, we would at least not leave this critical zone here. Well, this is not a guarantee that it will continue to go up. But let's just wait and see. Wait. Personally, I don't think we will see 1.57 here very quickly. But never say never. In short, that's it for today. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a short comment. What is your opinion? And also feel free to give a free like which boosts the algorithm. Otherwise, I can give you a final tip. Feel free to check out this video as well. There, I talk about the last hope that can really push us upwards in March. It sounds crazy now, but I believe in it. You should take a look because it might also be a rescue for your portfolio. We'll see each other tomorrow in the next update. Until then, all the best. Bye.